left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Woo! Good morning, Bakers. What is going on, everyone? Happy Monday, August 29th, the final week of August, week before Labor Day, as we kind of put a bow on the summer. That's nuts. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I know I kind of did. I'm surrounded by wedding next weekend. My Jess's bachelorette, which I guess isn't really a weekend for me, but I don't know. I guess I have to watch the dog more and stuff, so it's like on my calendar. And then I think I have double weddings after that, which essentially leads us into the postseason. And if you remember, a couple weeks ago, I had a couple bachelor parties, my golf trip. So it's been a busy time for me. Beebs, did you just have a wedding? Dream that?
This weekend was a moving trip.
Moving weekend.
I wasn't moving. Aaron was moving.
Right.
Mostly settled in now. Seems like we're in a good spot there. A couple weddings, one at the very end of the month and end of next month. First week of... I have back-to-back weeks of weddings, end of September, early October. One of them's my cousin. It's a whole thing. I haven't actually talked to you about it. It's a Thursday afternoon. It's really stupid.
I have a Friday afternoon wedding. So, hey, everyone does it their own way. I guess the point is summer's wrapping up. You can kind of... I don't want to be obnoxious New York guy, but I will be. And yes, a lot of people commenting on the fresh haircut now. Got rid of the goatee, the no-tee, as people have called it, because the Yankees stopped winning. So the goatee very much confused my Jessica because it was to make the Yankees stop losing, and they did. But once they started winning, they were 5-0, so I couldn't get rid of it. And now they've lost 2 games. We won't talk about that. The city. You hear people be obnoxious about New York City and, the city has life. It's a living, breathing thing. And, just kind of obnoxious New York stuff or something you'd hear in a movie that you'd be like, it's another place. Both are true. New York City is another place. Wherever you live, whether it's a local town, another city, whatever, you have your things that you could feel in the town. If your town has a big annual parade. I know where I grew up, this is going to sound like Actually, I think every town sneaky has one of these, but it sounds like the most podunk thing. A strawberry festival? Your town do that? No?
No. I'm sure we have something like that I can't currently think of. But
New York City this weekend very much had a summer is ending vibe. I know most of the people I know went to concerts. A lot of our office, Joe's, Zach, myself. There's a group of people that went to concerts. Labor Day is also a big concert weekend around the city. I think there's like Izu if you're getting nuts and stuff like that. Well, there's just everything else going on. Yeah, shout out to all the strawberry festivals going on. There's definitely an end of summer vibe. And one of the things that ties into that, and I couldn't believe this, preseason football is over because they got rid of the 4th game because they had another game to the schedule. So there will be, the next time that NFL football is on your TV, it will be the real stuff. And like I've been teasing, I think Wednesday we'll give you a little football preview because I saw it's all rolling out now, and it actually makes sense. Like I think I have a fantasy football draft tonight. Just got the text about that. So that'll be good. I love a good draft. My number one thing I'd probably draft would be drafts. But yeah, I'm seeing all the articles come out like, how ESPN, front page ESPN right now, our forecast for the NFL's best 100 players of 2022, and where does Russell Wilson land on the list? Great question. I'm not going to read that right now. I'll be honest with you. I used to read every ESPN article. My goodness. So we are about 2 weeks away, a little less, I suppose, from NFL football. Baseball has left the dog days. I told you guys last week that baseball teams had left the dog days. I think they got through the real hot parts. I think teams had their bad stretches and were like, okay. Like the energy. Teams were creating energy to get themselves out of the dog days. So maybe they weren't out of the dog days, but they were doing their damnedest to be out of the dog days, which tells me they were out of the dog days. There's a little riddle for you to start your day. We will come up on the football. We will be greeting it probably the next 2 Wednesday episodes. That would make sense. Maybe if we can add some fantasy implications to next episode or players, individual based, before we get to season stuff, because that next Wednesday will lead into the season. So with all that being said, a little bit of a fun sports weekend. And before we get into some of the game action, because I need to destroy the White Sox, I actually filtered my original tweet because I'm friends with Lucas Giolito, and he's one of the bigger, scarier men I've met. So I'd rather use full sentences than an abbreviated tweet to say how bad the White Sox are. Because my goodness, the White Sox and the Blue Jays got swept. Both of those, and like I said with the dog days, I think the Jays can circle that easily. The White Sox, you can't. That's just been your whole season. That's just been your whole season. What was that? I want to start off on a high note, and I wanted to compliment the New York Metropolitans. They had their Old Timers Day this weekend, and I know a lot of Yankee fans listen to this. We obviously are always connected to the Yankees. And I have no idea. I guess leave some comments. I'm going to assume not at all. If you're not connected to the Yankees, you don't care about Old Timers Day, right? Because it's a Yankees thing. In Yankee culture, it's a massive thing. Old Timers Day, you tune in. You tune in. Usually there's a new young guy every year. In recent years, I remember Matsui's first Old Timers Day. I remember Nick Swisher's first Old Timers Day. Like, you have the passing of the guard. Like, you have the young guy that joins the mix and will probably be a part of future Old Timers Days. I guess on the sad side of that, there's sometimes people that leave Old Timers Day. We won't harp on that.
I was going to say, there's some old timers. More
so you have the guys that kind of live for it. I hate to be rude, but like a Gator Guidry. Ron Guidry, was one of the best pitchers to play this game. He played in a different era where Ron Guidry didn't make, $500 million. But Ron Guidry shows up to Yankee Stadium on Old Timers Day, and he is more well-respected than Aaron Judge. He's more well-respected than the Steinburners. Like, he is one of the kings of the castle. Louisiana Lightning, Cy Young, 5 Gold Gloves, 4-time All-Star. Not a Hall of Famer. So maybe I'll pull that back a little bit. One of the best pitchers I guess in the grand scope, one of the best pitchers. He's got a Cy Young. He's got a Cy Young in the back. So,
hindsight. I know growing up talking to old people, people my dad's age, they were like, yeah, he just didn't play long enough. I was like, I don't know. I think if voting happened, I think he played enough.
Yeah, that
was like the argument against him, I think, sort of like Mattingly, like, yeah, just didn't, like, injury slowed him down at the end.
Retired in 88,
Yeah.
If there was a veterans committee that came out and said Ron Guidry was in the Hall of Fame, I don't think many people would bat an eye. But anyways, so we're spoiled by Yankees Old Timers Day.
Yes.
The New York Mets did their Old Timers Day, and it was fantastic. And I was kind of wondering. I was interested to see the response and how it would go down. And it was awesome, dude. Like, we're obviously Shea Station, Jerry Blevins. I'm closer to Mets culture than I've ever been. The Mets are a really good team this year. That helps. That always helps. So they bring out the guys, and man, there's something, even if you're a baseball fan, and we do this funny thing in baseball. I've talked about it on here. I don't know if they still do it. They used to do it on the Dan Le Batard show, where you just name old baseball players' names. And there's something good about that. There's like a weird nostalgic feel to it, and everyone's so unique that when you say Todd Zeal, or you say Timo Perez, or you say Benny Agbayani, these names evoke an emotion from you that's like a beautiful part of baseball. Like, getting over the top romantic, didn't think I'd go here today in my new high and tight haircut and my golfer look, which I think is going to be a Monday thing. I think I'm just taking the mental thought process out on Mondays, and I'm just going yuppie golf look. That each baseball player, and my sister would kind of just start cackling if she listens to this, which I think she does listen to some Wake and Jakes. Each baseball player is an artist. Everyone does the same thing differently. Like, you can mimic different players' batting stances. The Derek Jeter jump throw, all these guys' mannerisms, the way that they play the game. Anyone in our office right now could give you Anthony Rizzo's batting stance, because he stands all over the plate. He he's just kind of like leaning and vibing and relaxing.
The hands, stride. And
most importantly, and yeah, someone in the chat said, Bobby Valentine showing up with the mustache. Yeah, I mean, baseball players, once they get older, they don't get less weird. There's a lot of quirky baseball guys, and they don't get less weird as they get older. They don't get less
weird. They just don't have a cool job anymore.
They just don't. It's not in front of us as much. That the Mets, I think they had players from basically the start of their franchise, 1962, through recent years. Daniel Murphy was there, 37 years old. And again, hey, Daniel Murphy, go check out his stats. Some of his later years were actually incredible, unreal. If Daniel Murphy's walking through a supermarket across America, I don't think he gets a ton of love. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm completely off on that. But Daniel Murphy, who retired in 2020, by the way, 2016, he led the NL in OPS and slugging. Second in the MVP, Daniel Murphy. It's nice to give these guys the day and have some fun. B, it's a massive win for the team and the franchise. These need to happen in every baseball stadium across the U.S. and Canada, I guess, across Major League Baseball. The only teams that would be wacky, but this would even make it more fun, is doing the Rays and the Rockies, because they're the most recent teams. So you'd have...
And they've been around long enough that, you can get guys.
I can promise you get guys. Especially, how about this? If I bring up a 98 Rays roster, there were some cool dudes on the Rays. You want to show off a Fred McGriff? Like Wade Boggs. Is that not the perfect opportunity? You're telling me if Randy Wynn showed up at Rays Old Timers Day, you wouldn't check that out? I would. Miguel Cairo, 24 years old on those Rays. Ooh. John Flaherty. You can make it happen. And what I loved, and I want to give some proper credit. Disha, who covers the Mets, Disha Tosar, I think I'm saying that right. I think met her once at winter meetings. Great follow. Mets and Yankees for Fox Sports now. That's right. Ooh. I think she just got a new job title. She was interviewing Buck, and you guys know I love Buck. And basically they were talking about how fantastic of a day it was, and almost like, why hadn't this happened sooner, and why don't more teams do this? And Buck was awesome about it. Said every team can do this and should do this, but it costs money. You got to fly the guys in, and you probably put them up in a hotel room and stuff like that. Showalter said, believe me, this isn't free. Showalter said he thanked Steve Cohen today, and the Mets owner didn't want to hear it. So, hey, there's probably some fan service there. Deisha's tweet there, 4,000 likes. Every team should do this because there's something beautiful about baseball and seeing these guys and connecting different generations of baseball fans and telling them how good Edgardo Alfonso is and telling them the generation before that. And heck, retiring Willie Mays' number. Obviously a guy you don't necessarily associate with the Mets, first of all, but he played there, and you want to talk about inner circle, guys. I think Willie Mays still has an argument for one of, if not the best player to play this game. The fact that he got to wear your uniform, honor that. And they are. So, the long and short of it is, if whatever team you are a fan of, petition for an Old Timers Day. It would be a blast. It would be incredible. They are incredible. And I hope next year we hear about 2 more Old Timers Days. And the year after that we hear about 4 more. And to the fact that every team has to be doing this because it's a beautiful thing, connecting the different generations of the sports. And if you're an owner, and we just talked about the Los Angeles Angels and how they're listing their team and how Artie Moreno bought it for, what was it, $183 million? And this sale is probably going to land around $2 billion north of. Guess who were some of the main employees in getting that to happen? So if you have to pay a couple $1,000 in flights and hotels and meals, it's worthwhile. By the way, I think I said this on here. I got tickets to Yankees Old Timers Day. Couldn't end up going. And then, Susan, I was like, I got them from a guy who has season tickets, and I bought them, and I bought them for the season ticket price, and okay, deal, good transaction. And the guy who I got him from, nice dude, my guy Rifkin. I didn't know if I was going to name drop him or not. I did. He had a line in there that just felt like a little off, or no. So I decided I couldn't go to the game, and I was like, well, you know what, I think I'm going to sell these. Me and my dad can't make it. I think I might give these, or I might sell them. Because I didn't want to put the burden back on him if he couldn't go. Then now he had to sell tickets again. Like, I was like, I'll cut out the middleman, dude. Like, I'll sell these, not a problem. And he kind of sent, he's like, all right, yeah, no problem, man. And he's like, you might even make $1 on it. Which I was like, that's interesting. Like, clearly not my intention. So I was like, let me look up the ticket prices. The tickets that I got for that day, for Old Timers Day at Yankee Stadium and what it's turned into, were about 4 times the price that they normally go for. So, going back to ownership and team value and doing an Old Timers Day, paying for a couple flights, guess what? You can make that up pretty damn easy. So, I hope that your team starts doing Old Timers Day soon. And know that it is more than just, I don't know, a silly, ridiculous thing with old men. I think your brain kind of jumps there because you're like old men in baseball pants. That doesn't necessarily do it for me. It does for an hour or two once a year. It does. It should. I hope your team does it. Steven Riding starting to tweet out silly stuff. Heard a mustache adds 2 miles per hour. Might have to test it out. I'm glad he's back in our lexicon. Let's go through the baseball that happened this weekend because there's some teams that deserve some love. And more so, like I referenced, there's some teams that deserve a little bit of hate. And that's not normally my game, but it's that time of year. It's August 29th. What are you doing, White Sox? And like I told you guys, the football season is about to begin. Get ready for NFL Week 1 with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To celebrate the return of football, DraftKings is giving new customers their can't-miss offer, betting $5 on any game, and you'll get $200 in free bets instantly. On opening night, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Get up 7, you win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice, and if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you'll get paid instantly, even if your team loses. If you're looking to get into this, people, especially around football season, I'll tell you this. I'm not the biggest sports gambler. I enjoy it. I love the pureness and beauty of sports. Putting a little action on the game is a good time.
It's an enhancer.
It's a good
Be careful
time.
making it like the main course of what you're doing.
It's a good. Hey, some people do that,
and they have a great time.
But if you're looking to get into it, and maybe you have 1 or 2 every Sunday, and I guess what? You'll tune in a little sharper. I promise you that. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code JOHNBOY only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details and see the disclaimer and all that jazz. So, through all of that, let's talk a little baseball. The last weekend of August, baseball will be played? Yeah, right? Because when's
I think
30 days?
September 1 is Thursday.
September 1st is Thursday. Wow. So the last weekend of August, so if you didn't believe the dog days were gone, you kind of have to after this. The headline for me is easy. It's a headline that I've been dodgy on. Trev has been dodgy on. Jim's wanted to roll with, and now he's looking good on it. The Chicago White Sox. They're 63-65. They're under 500. They have a losing record at home. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They're 2-8 in their last 10, and they just got swept at home by my Diamondbacks. And if you'll remember, when did we last see the White Sox before this series? It was the Liam Hendricks Adam Engel game, where Adam Engel was a glove squeeze away from them taking 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles, who they are unfortunately jostling with in position, or they were jostling with in position, to win a series on the road. Instead, drop, homer, extra innings, loss. You lose the series, and then you go home to get swept by my D-backs. I mean, just completely unreal. There's the part of me that wants to say, White Sox, you got a month left, get hot, blah, blah, blah. I'm over it. I'd rather be wrong at this point. I'd rather just be straight up wrong. The White Sox are dead. It's been a dead season. The talent on that roster is unreal. And I guess the other part that's frustrating, I was reading some really interesting stuff about their offense, and I don't know what to do with it. They're 4th in batting average, and you'd say, okay, yeah, White Sox are supposed to be a good hitting team. They're 28th in homers. I think I was looking at a stat this weekend that I believe was average slugging, like per hit. Something like that. It wasn't a perfect stat.
Like, it's not quite what slugging is, but like on the hits.
Yeah. Yes. And And yet they were like the worst in baseball. And the collection of teams that were the worst in baseball. So they're hitting, we get distracted by batting average a lot, right? There's still a lot of people that lean into that stat. And I am often a batting average defender because we got too far away from batting average. Batting average still means something. It still means something. If you come up, bases loaded, and you have a 292 hitter with a 700 OPS, or you have a 212 hitter with a 715 OPS, I would much rather that 292 hitter because they're someone who can hit the ball and put it in play. That 212 hitter is someone who can probably drive the ball, and when they do, the ball goes. But in a bases-loaded situation where the pitcher has to throw strikes and is trying to execute, I think the batting average wins out there. I don't want the OPS there. I would love a hit. So, their hitting stats, they're 4th in batting average, they're 17th in OPS, 28th in homers, and 26th in stolen bases. Sometimes we over-break down this game. I'll tell you what. If you go back and you look at a lot of baseball teams and they're 28th in steals or 26th in steals and 28th in homers, those teams have been bad. We talk about analytics a lot. Analytics are just stats. Some of the original stats of baseball are home runs and stolen bases. Because guess what? If you're doing a lot of those, you're probably doing well offensively. Picture if you're playing another team and they're hitting a lot of homers. That's probably first nowadays, let's be honest. Or they're stealing a lot of bases. That team is putting themselves in a position to score runs. A little basic baseball for the people.
Usually, I was going to say figuring out the exact phrasing, but you need to be good at least one of those things that can make up for being bad at the other. You can be bad at one of those and still be a good team.
Sure. And
both is tough.
You can build your team around those, and they usually do, and it's tough to be really good at both. But it's really bad to be really bad at both. So, let's go to the pitching. They're 16th in starting pitching ERA. What? Cease, Giolito, Cueto? Kopech just went down, but a guy that had a nice year, uber talented. Lance Lynn, he was out for a chunk of this season to start, and he's on the bereavement list now, so should be back. But still, Liam Hendricks, Kendall Graveman in the back of this bullpen, Jake Diekman at the trade deadline, Joe Kelly, was losing Aaron Bummer for a chunk of this year a problem, was losing Garrett Crochet for a lot of this year a problem, yes. But this White Sox team wasn't supposed to hang their hat on Garrett Crochet. Like, he was a fun party trick for them. I think that's how I labeled it.
He was going to be this guy's a bonus piece.
This lefty throws 102. They were debating making him a swing man. If not, he was a multi-inning weapon out of the bullpen. And hey, it's hard to relive the injury bug of every team this season. Right now, they have Yasmani Grandal, Yohan Moncada, and Tim Anderson on the IL, who, Tim Anderson's normally their leadoff, and you're talking about two switch-hitting guys in a lineup that have played a lot of good baseball. I don't know. I don't know. I know Eloy missed a chunk of this year. A lot of teams have had injuries. The White Sox are one of the biggest disappointments of this season, and when you go through all of the players, and I wanted to start with the players because the players do play the game, and we had all these discussions on Talking Baseball, the value of a manager and your players. Buck Showalter would not look great this year if the Mets were stinking, and if Pete Alonso had a 600 OPS, and Lindor was hurt, and Scherzer and DeGrom didn't come back. The Mets would not be the Mets. He has put a lot of things in place that have made him how he's going to win the Manager of the Year, and he's always been one of the most respected managers around baseball. And it's funny because during the Yes broadcast last night, they actually rolled a Tony La Russa Buck Showalter brawl from back in the day. You're the Chicago White Sox. You've had a manager that was hired from the start. The whole thing was just destroyed and ripped to shreds. And when things go so far that way, there's a little bit of me that likes to be devil's advocate. That it's like, well, Tony La Russa is in the Hall of Fame. Maybe, he's seen a lot. Maybe he can help these guys and be the manager they're looking for. I think it's pretty clear. Joe Girardi got fired this year. Well-respected guy. His time in Philly kind of ran out. And guess what? I hate to say it, but the Phillies have played better since then. Again, the players played better, but how much was it tied to? Nobody ever knows. But was it a spark? Did it change things in the locker room? I don't know. Joe Madden was fired this year. Things went the opposite direction. So you can't just circle it and say, blank canvas, this works.
That'll fix it.
But if you're 63 and 65 in August 29th, Fangraphs has the Chicago White Sox with a 13.3% chance to make the playoffs. This is a team that on paper was kind of supposed to be the dominant team in the American League. Like if you gave me before the season who was going to have the most wins in the AL, I would have said the Chicago White Sox. Their division kind of stinks. Their talent is stacked. The AL East is brutal. We didn't know who would win the AL East. Houston were the favorites out west. The Mariners were better. The Angels were supposed to be...
The A's fell off, but the rest of the division improved.
Right. The Rangers got better, and they have. The Angels were supposed to be somewhat better.
They were.
And that fell apart. That I don't know. When Jerry Reinsdorf, who owns the White Sox, hired La Russa, and when he did, he admitted it was because he wanted to hire him, and he was, there was stuff in their past. I think he regretted not hiring La Russa, or he regretted firing La Russa, so he's and picture being
Gave him too short a leash the first time.
Picture being a billionaire guy, and you have a regret that you can try to fix. Yes, you're going to do that. You're going to do that. So they did that. I think, did he get a DUI his first spring training in camp, or was it his second? Or was it right before?
It was right
around the hiring.
Everything came out around that spring, I think.
I don't know. It seems like the Tony La Russa hire was not a good hire. You can put some of it on him. You can put some of it on injuries. You can put some of it on player performance, just a general blah. But, man, this Chicago White Sox team, I'm trying to think of disappointing teams in previous years. Keeping it in the AL Central, I remember when the Twins, the Bomba Squad Twins, were trying to continue to go, and they were kind of the big dog in the Central. They fell off in a huge way. I guess the problem with those Twins teams is they were never seen as a serious contender. They were viewed as a good team. They're like, oh, these Twins are good. They can mash. But they weren't viewed as a World Series championship contender. Their franchise hadn't won a playoff series and still hasn't won a game.
They haven't won a playoff game since 2004, and it's a decent number of playoff appearances.
So, they hit the bricks pretty badly. I talked about some of the Red Sox disappointment in some of their recent years, surrounded by success around it. This White Sox team, man, literally, those gray White Sox uniforms, that's what this season feels like. It's just been bleak from the start. And honestly, at this point, to get to this point where I'm so over it, they're 2 games under 500 at the end of August. I hope they go and they prove me wrong, and kudos to the White Sox. And, wow, they saved it for September. They hit the on switch. I'll take it, but, man, this is this is brutal and so disappointing, and I like so many of their players. Andrew Vaughn kind of broke out this year. Louis Robert, he's been hurt a little bit this year, but he's so talented. You know, I did a whole thing about, you know, the next Tatis and who's going to fill his shoes, and Julio gets the massive extension kind of right after that happens. Whoops, you're welcome, Julio. Luis Robert was supposed to be that guy, kind of. We're a couple years removed. He's 25 now, which, again, is still young, and he's an absolute stud, La Pantera. I hope he crushes it. But his name, when has his name been at the forefront of baseball people's minds?
He's had injury stuff.
A lot of injuries, and hopefully that goes away, but still.
Yes.
And it's just, the Luis Robert stuff is more so look how fast baseball can move on.
Yeah.
Jose Abreu, good season. Rock
good.
solid. Love Jose Abreu. Nothing there. Eloy Jimenez missed so much of this year. Another guy I absolutely love. I bet on him. I was going through my preseason baseball bets that I kind of forgot. I threw a little cheddar on him to hit the most homers this year in the AL. Got hurt right after
Tough
that.
timing.
So not a great bet. Dylan Cease, incredible season. Breakout year. Cy Young votes. Good. Giolito, I think a little below where he'd like to be, but not a bad season. Johnny Cueto has an incredible year for them, and like one of the more beloved guys in the sport. Liam Hendricks, remember when he was everyone's like darling? The Aussie closer. Good
Numbers
year.
are good.
Great year. Great year. And that's, I get, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, the 2021 Yankees, they had one big winning streak where they caught the sauce for a little bit. I think they won 13 in a row or something like that.
I believe 13 in a row.
Outside of that, they were a 500 team. Because if you do
Give or
13 minus 91 or whatever, that'd be under 500.
I think so.
I could look this up quickly. The New York Yankees. Your New York Yankees. In 2021, 92 and 70. So if you took away the 13 wins, you'd still be 79 and 70. So better. Better than the White Sox. The problems the Yankees had with this team is that team, they didn't run hard. They didn't have guys who could run hard. Think about the stolen bases, I said before. I guess the one thing is different that when the Yankees did hit, they were homers. Outside of that, they just weren't hitting a lot. And yeah, the team just seemed so... They didn't have that baseball energy. Everything I just talked about from Old Timers Day and the beauty and fun of baseball and the Little League World Series that just happened the past couple weeks. That those two things. Think about the Little League World Series juxtaposed to Old Timers Day. And that those are two of the most fun events in sports. That you need to have the fun packaged in the middle somehow. And it just feels like the White Sox don't have that. At this point of the year, I don't think they're going to get rid of La Russa. I don't think you can. I mean, you can. I don't think they will, excuse me. But these White Sox have been a massive disappointment. They have the horses that you need in a rotation. They have a bullpen that can scare you and win games. And they've got so many names in that lineup, and I know there's a lot of injuries and... You know, Elvis Andrus is now playing short. Elvis Andrus and Josh Harrison is their shortstop third base listed. I mean, that feels like 6 years ago. What is that? So, I mean, 6 might be generous. 8?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The White Sox have been a massive disappointment.
Looking at their stat sheet, I know you were just fumbling around on here, but like their top 5 homer guys, it's a weird list. Nobody has more than 15 homers.
I mean, think about that.
15. I know we're spoiled this year by seeing Aaron Judge every day. He's an extreme outlier the other way. But outside of the Yankees have a handful of guys. The
Stanton has
20-ish
24 in 83 games.
Yes.
Glaber has 18, and he's in like Yankee fans' doghouses. Doghouses or just doghouse? Yankees fans' doghouse. Singular. Rizzo has 28. So think about that. Anthony Rizzo, who recently hasn't been setting the world on fire. Matt Carpenter has 15 home runs.
Yes.
Played in 47 games. Like, the talented guys that the White Sox have offensively, normally a guy can reel off a 10-homer month. It's bad. It's so bad. And I'm kind of over them for now. If they reappear in this season, good. Let me know. Maybe they get their 13-game winner, and that can still somewhat save it. There's no reason to believe that'll happen. There is no reason to believe that'll happen. So
they have, the guys were supposed to be some of their bigger dogs, not healthy right now. But at the same time, Yankees, their 13-game winner was with
right
when the guys went out and they had to squid it.
Velasquez. So kudos to my D-backs, more so, for sweeping the White Sox. And the AL Central, which is going to be one of the few races as we wind down the season. Sorry, I almost threw up into the microphone. The Twins sweep the Giants, more or less ending their season. I mean, talk about a disappointing Giants campaign. Team that came off one of the best regular seasons ever. They are now 61-65. They are DED dead. I guess that one doesn't hurt as much because that's kind of what people expected them to be last year. But they caught the magic of baseball, which is a real thing, and you can't quantify it. Sorry, nerds. Guardians and the Twins. White Sox are 5 games back of the Guardians. White Sox are 3 games back of the Twins, which, when you say those numbers in baseball, the White Sox can still make something happen. They just refuse to. Twins swept the Giants. Good for them. They had been in a little bit of a dog days of summer, if not just an awful 3 months of baseball, pretty much. I think we looked that up, and they'd been under 500 for a long time.
It's very bleh.
Yeah, hopefully for Trev and his Twins, they can get some juice, keep that AL Central a fun race. The other games I think you need to know about, I mean, Mets, Cardinals, Braves all win their series. Doesn't that add up? Doesn't that add up almost too much? Mets 3 of 4 from the Rocks, formerly my Rocks. Phillies take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. Brewers take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Reds and Nationals. I feel like it. No, I was going to say something mean about the Reds, and I already took it back, so it didn't happen. I already took it back. But did the National League pitch a perfect game of the results we wanted?
I think kind of.
Oh, Braves Cardinals. That was the big series. And I guess, well, it's in St. Louis, so I don't know. That's the only toss-up. The Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Braves. Good on the Cardinals. After losing the first game in a blowout, they come back and they win the next 2. Arenado, 4 hits and a homer, returning from the paternity list. We love that. We love any dad strength you can run into. Wainwright was mic'd up for his pregame. I don't know if anyone saw the clips of that on the internet. It was kind of cool. He's like, yeah, throw 5 fastballs out. And then he did it. And then throw 5 fastballs in. Did that. I don't know. It's interesting that you get old and you're comfortable with yourself and you can do that. Because if he went out and got rocked, people would be like, what are you doing, dude? Messing with your pregame routine? 6.2, 2 earned runs. Good for him. Good for the Cardinals as they continue to announce themselves in the hierarchy of the National League They have a 6-game lead on the Brewers. How different is that than the Yankees 7.5 on the Rays? Numbers would tell you a game and a half. Analytics, again, from me. Mets, Cardinals, Dodgers, and the Braves are the elite teams of the National League. Phillies continue to fend off the Brewers. Phillies and Padres, excuse me. Padres, they win a series, but Hader still sinks, which is so funny that if, everyone killed Milwaukee, we killed Milwaukee on the Hader stuff, their team started tanking. If they can play a little bit of a better brand of baseball, we talk about player front office relationship and how much that Hader stuff probably had to hurt. If the front office can tell those guys, hey, we were kind of right. Hader's running out of juice. And we retooled this so we can be good this year and next year. You can still salvage that. They are one of the playoff races still going. The wild card, the Milwaukee Brewers are a game and a half out. Believe I have that right.
Looks right to me.
Game and a half out of San Diego. Philly forming a little bit of cushion. You can't have the bad screw up. The rest of the NL is done. The San Francisco Giants, the D-backs are 2 games back of the Giants. The Giants are 7.5 out of the wild card. A 4-game losing streak basically ends their season. In the AL wild card, we'll see. And the other disappointing team that we really need to talk about, and they don't deserve the same punishment as the White Sox, because it just feels like Toronto's been in the same state all year. I guess not a state, a province.
Got them.
The Baltimore Orioles are a game and a half back of Toronto. America's team this year, the Baltimore Orioles. Well, that feels rude when I'm talking about the Blue Jays. That's not how I meant it. Baseball's team this year, the Baltimore Orioles. How about that? Minnesota Twins are 3 games back of the wild card. White Sox are 6. Red Sox are 7. I guess if the Twins get hot, they can also battle for wild card and the AL Central with the Guardians. Toronto is a really good team. The talent on that team is really good. Same with Seattle, who's a game up on them. Tampa is a game and a half up on Seattle. The teams feel right. Tampa,
Different
Seattle.
order than we maybe would have guessed.
Tampa, Seattle, Toronto feels right talent-wise compared to Baltimore, Minnesota. Obviously not factoring in the White Sox because I just gave you the whole speech on that. Toronto Blue Jays got swept at home to the Angels. Some people are calling it the curse of Sam. Sam went to the game. And by the way, massive floorball game tonight. Championship game. Team baggage versus the Worm Burners. It's a good one. It's a good one.
I don't want to spoil surprises, but something else I think comes out very, very soon in regards to floorball. It's almost noon, right?
Oh. I think so.
Might be pushed a little bit.
If you're in our Tangled Web, I think there's a nice video coming out involving floorball. And yeah, the championship game is tonight. I will be in the chat. I am in the net. It's a great game. It is a fantastic game. It's a fantastic game. Poppy Gordo, special. You know I am. Back to the Blue Jays. Yeah, dude, you can't say what you said about the White Sox. You can't.
It's not the same.
The White Sox have been below 500 all year. But like we kind of talked about with the Twins, and maybe that's the problem. I think both of those teams got off to good starts, and since then, they've been like 500 baseball teams, which is just so bleh and unexciting and not who these Blue Jays are supposed to be. Like if I told you Manoah was going to have a monster season for them, he was supposed to be like a question mark-ish coming in. If I told you Alejandro Kirk was going to be the best hitting catcher this season. I mean, maybe they believed in that. Maybe they didn't. If I told you Matt Chapman was going to have a 120 OPS plus, remember he kind of came over. He wasn't hitting a lot. He's gone nuts. Trevor Plouffe takes credit for it.
I'll let him.
I mean, the Blue Jays had a hot Blue Jays record by month. 14-8. That's good.
Good. Shorter April than usual. Good.
14-12. 2 games above 500, sure. 15-13. 2 games above 500, sure. July, 14-12. 2 games above 500, sure. So, when we're talking about all these things all encompassed, with the White Sox being below 500 and, this Giants season not panning out, the Red Sox season not panning out, can't be mad at the Blue Jays for being 10 games over 500. They are 11-13 in August, so they're feeling the dog days a little bit. But yeah, it's not who this team was supposed to be. They were supposed to be a different, offensive, dynamic baseball team, and you weren't supposed to get swept at home by the Angels of all teams. I mean, you ran into an Ohtani day, and guess what? We all have. You lost 12-0. Reed Detmers to the bullpen. Shutout. I mean, you shouldn't get shut out in that. Whit Merrifield pitches the last inning. You lose 2-0 on Ohtani Day. He shuts you down. Jimmy Herget for the 2-inning save. Friend of the company. And then, you lose the final game. You lose the final game 8-3. And if you're the Blue Jays, it's kind of, when is the train going to leave the station? And I guess that's where it differs from the White Sox. Their train can still leave the station. If they can have those bookend months. We had a good April. We had a good September. Let's go into the playoffs strong. We have Gossman. We have Manoah. Can Barrios be right? I sneaky like their bullpen a lot more than I did coming into the season. I think they can piece something together there. But
and how many times have we talked about 2017 Yankees? It was like, it's really only 2 good months, 500-ish the other times. And that's kind of the formula the Jays got cooking. No disaster months, certainly.
No.
Like, they're in a good spot, and organizationally, as long as they are in the dance, it's not like an issue. They thought they'd be better, but how many times do we see a team wins the offseason, they're a little disappointing. These guys will still be together.
Right.
It's like big picture. Blue Jays fans should still feel overall optimistic about everything, and they are a good team, and nobody wants to face them in the playoffs. And they're in the mix. They're solidly like a playoff team still.
Barrios, Gossman.
But it's weird.
They're playing the Cubs and then Pittsburgh. So, hey, let's talk about you in a week and say you won 6 games. But yeah, the Blue Jays haven't been inspiring since April.
September's a good time to get hot.
So yeah, I mean those were kind of the 2 biggest highlights I did think were disappointing news. Although the Mariners took 3 out of 4 from the Guardians, and the Baltimore Orioles. How about this? For the Baltimore Orioles, I'm going to take the kitty gloves off. Because that's what we've been doing all year. Is that the Orioles win a game or win a series, and we're like, yeah.
Good for you guys.
All right, Orioles. These Orioles, man. Pesky. Fun. Cool team. I'll take the gloves off. Because they did win 2 out of 3 versus the Astros. Held the Astros to 1 run in the first 2 games. 2-0, 3-1, 3-1 in these 3 games. That feels playoff baseball-y, right? McCullers, Urquidy, Verlander. Verlander comes out with a calf thing. Can't be significant enough because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. Set to undergo MRI, so I guess we'll see. He's an old man, but I mean, think about this. If this was a take away the team name, and if this was a team a game and a half out of the wild card that won 2 out of 3 against the Astros, we'd be like, let's go. Like, you took on the king of your league, and you beat him 2 out of 3. And if they got swept, what would we have said? Yep. Orioles got swept by the Astros. Verlander pitched that final game, probably going to win the Cy. Like, all the stuff is easy to say. Orioles, I will take the kid gloves off. I will treat you like the big boys because you deserve it. You've been better than the White Sox all year for all those names I've said. All those names, all those reasons. The kitty gloves are off. You guys beat Houston. Awesome. Good. I hope the rest of the way, I don't need to swing without the kitty gloves. Let's give a little schedule check to the O's. And then I think we could start tidying up just a little bit, as we do have Talking Baseball coming up after this. At Cleveland, so another playoff team. At Cleveland, Quantrill, McKenzie, and Bieber, so they're getting the real stuff there. Then they come home for Oakland and Toronto. So, Baltimore Orioles survive Cleveland. Don't get swept. 1 out of 3 would be okay, as long as you come back and you take care of Oakland when you get home, which you should. And you will. You will. You've proven you will. You've deserved that. You get Toronto for 3 at home, starting Labor Day? That's an important series in Baltimore in September. That crowd will be juiced. Labor Day Monday? I wouldn't want to be the Blue Jays in that game. So come on, Orioles. Give me another week. Survive Cleveland. Handle your business with Oakland. Make that Toronto series, Labor Day Monday, count. And let's go O's, baby. Let's reward a team with young players having fun and doing the damn thing. A team I was brutal on to start the year, and I didn't think they'd win 60 games. But guess what? It's part of the reason baseball is awesome. Because the Chicago White Sox on paper, like I said, were easily your team that was supposed to have the most wins in the AL. They're looking like they are going to miss the playoffs and have a worse record than the Baltimore Orioles, who looked like they would easily have the worst record in the American League. And now they could be a playoff team. So, Taryn Varvra, can't wait to hear Trev say that in a little bit. Go O's, Bird Gang. Get it going. For all the rest of the baseball, we are going to be doing Talking Baseball in a minute. Like I mentioned, Mariners 3 out of 4. Good for you against the Guard Dogs. Really like them. Our Yanks split 4 in Oakland after winning the first 2. Red Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Rays. Tigers and Rangers played. Ugh. Let me stop. I'll just stop saying gross things at games. Kind of feeling rude about it. Some good standouts. Again, all that's on Talking Baseball in a little bit. On here, Wake and Jake in the morning. We do the comment of the day. Actually, before I get there, I want to check some boxes because I think it's stuff I am going to mention. But there was some weird. It's a unique sports weekend. The Little League World Series wrapped up. Hawaii was dominant on different level. Almost not fun. Hate to be rude and hate to actually throw that out there, but everyone was thinking it. I think they mercied every game they played, every game except one. I mean, they've been a dominant Little League program, so good for them. Happy for them. Watch some of the Saturday Curaçao versus Chinese Taipei. That was an awesome Little League game. 1-0. Good plays getting made. Good pitching. Good fielding. I mean, even good at bats. Like for a 1-0 Little League game, you wonder if you're going to open the box score, and it's like, whoa, 14 strikeouts to 16 strikeouts. No, like those teams were really good Little League teams. That was a lot of fun. In the Little League World Series, they still have the juice bottled up, just like Old Timers Day, just very different juices. Old juice and young juice. Stop saying juice, man. And then Rory, not going to be my bro of the night. But he won the golf tournament this weekend, and he got $18 million. So again, I don't know where you stand on golf, if you're a golf fan or not. Again, golf's kind of one of those sports you can't really force a person to be a sports fan. But Rory came back, was down 5 or 6 shots to Scotty Scheffler, and I think Scheffler also partially blew it. But, man, that's how much money is in golf? Live Tour? Rory just got 18 mil for a weekend. I don't fully even, I get it and I almost don't get it. Because 18 million, like, that's what a good free agent starting pitcher will get paid for a year. I guess be good at individual sports.
Offer.
Be good at individual sports is, I guess, what I would say there. Let's do the comment of the day. Bakers, I asked you guys to bake the algorithm. Leave a comment. Something sports, something about the show. Last time we talked about that Tatis void a little bit, and I hammered home that it should be Julio. I think he's next. Let's all lean into Julio. Let's enjoy this guy. And the Mariners, by the way, had a hell of a weekend. We might end up finishing up there. Let's see what we've got in the comments. And again, leave a it all helps the algorithm of YouTube to hit the like button, leave a comment, share with a friend, listened. Bryce Newton said, I became a Yankees fan from Central Illinois because I played MLB 2K06 and I picked the Yankees and hit homers with Jeter and Sheffield. I mean, do you know how... Thank you, Bryce. Do you know how nuts that is? In an awesome way? That now Bryce Newton supports the Yankees because of a video game where the Yankees were good and he played that. And then Bryce probably tuned into Talking Yanks 15 years later because he played that video game and enjoyed it, enjoyed the Yankees, and now tunes into Wake and Jake. Now, you want to do some butterfly effect there? How easy would it have been for Bryce Newton to be a Cardinals fan or Cubs fan or one of those teams in that region? Instead, that video game
Someone
changed
else gets
that.
put on that cover.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Cad Chamberlain, you mentioned MLB The Show, is a huge influence on younger baseball fans in terms of learning about players. I used to play Madden religiously, especially the franchise, and I could tell you and probably still tell you about 90% of every team's roster and a good chunk of the free agents. Yeah, I used to know pretty much football and NBA. I could tell you where most players played college from either watching them or playing the video games. Is that a great skill? I don't know. Here we are. And hey, shout out to Zendino the Great, probably in the Hall of Fame of JM, John Boy Media fans.
True.
Jake's shirt looks like a painting in a pediatric dentist office. Not sure if that's a good thing.
That was your New Orleans shirt.
Yeah, that was my NOLA shirt, which I did end up wearing a little bit this weekend because I did go to a Hoodie Allen concert briefly.
Oh.
Interesting scene. There's definitely tears to it. I think he's rebranding to get a younger audience again. And basically, every row of the crowd, I think, got older. And we were second to last row. But my Jessica had a blast. Had, and I guess probably still has, a big Hoodie Allen crush. How does that work? How do I get involved there? But good for him. He ripped it up. He seemed like he was having a good time. He was finishing up his tour, and I think he lives in New York. So I don't know. Did I send a DM before the show saying, hey, what's up? Not sure if you're a baseball guy. You want to link up? I did. And he was like, appreciate you coming out to the show, man.
Never want to meet you.
That's kind of it, yeah. He followed.
Hey.
Whatever. He's got about 1 million followers on Twitter. How nuts is that? More than Jeff Passan. Who, look up Hoodie Allen and Jeff Passan, doppelgangers.
Similar.
I told Jeff Passan. He jokingly got mad at me. I think Hoodie Allen's a decent-looking cat. He did say, and these are Jeff Passan's words, he said, what do you think, all Jewish people look alike?
I was about to say a lot.
I thought he was going to
A
go
lot of people
there.
kind of look like me.
I thought he was going to go there. And he did, and that's fine. So, yeah, that was an interesting one. And so was last episode. So thank you guys for continuing to bake the algorithm, leaving comments and reviews. Couple people, Flying Flag, asking about a JM Office pentathlon. I mean, I think that'll happen at some point.
Feels natural.
And then, yeah, I mean, the only other Noesco in there is talking about how he knows almost all the Dodgers and A's prospects from playing MLB The Show. Which, again, think about that. Knowing prospects?
The team doesn't even really, or the game doesn't even really go all out on those.
Knowing prospects?
Maybe more in recent years.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I will do a quick bro of the night. I had someone who I don't think was this guy, but I also love this guy, and if I can ever give him a bro of the night, I will. And I guess I'm just a Mariners guy now. I'll go Ichiro. We little teaser, might be something in the weekly dumb. Ichiro, they retired his number officially. They had like Ichiro weekend in Seattle. It wasn't a shocker to the people, and I don't think any players were running to try to wear 51. A great number, by the way.
Good number.
So they retire his number. They do, your normal ceremony. He's on the field. He gives a speech. What they did that was awesome, and, connecting the love of baseball from Little League World Series to Old Timers Day. Let's put a little one in the middle. Ichiro Girl threw out the first pitch. And I can't tell you the emotions I was feeling because I really hadn't felt them. That I was watching the video the Mariners made, and it was like Ichiro Girl's throwing out the first pitch, and it was this blonde girl, and I'm just like, okay, Ichiro Girl? Like, who is this? Ichiro Girl, if you remember, it's about 12 years ago, 10 years ago.
Looks like 2010.
2010. That's
12.
Became a problem on the dumb. Ichiro ran over to catch a foul pop-up, and it was right into the stands. And there's a girl in the front row, and he, touches her arm, bumps into her arm. And they zoom in to see kind of the fan reaction, and normally the fan's like, oh, my God, that was Ichiro. The girl starts freaking out. It's an incredible clip. It's something that if you're a baseball fan, you've definitely seen. And you could just read her lips perfectly. Pre-John Boy era. Oh, my God. Ichiro, he touched me. Oh, my God. She's so happy. She whips out her phone. She can't wait to tell everyone. And so they brought her back for Ichiro weekend. She throws out the first pitch. She didn't know. She probably had an idea it could have happened. But Ichiro came out to catch the first pitch. She was all excited about that. And it was just awesome. It was one of the more unique and cool first pitches that I couldn't believe how excited I was for her, for baseball, and for the whole situation, that they would do that. Because a lot of teams kind of wouldn't. I mean, just have a person from a viral video come out. I don't know. It's a weird concept to bump up the chain of command to get a first pitch on Ichiro weekend. It was perfect. It basically went re-viral. And we're talking about Ichiro more, which if you ever have a chance to go dig up those numbers and talk about a ball player, could that guy be in an all-time starting 9? I'd be interested. God, that guy could hit. He came over to the States at 27. And for the next 10 years, he averaged 331. He averaged 38 steals a year. He averaged 159 games a year. And he led the American League in hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10 years. Arguably the hardest thing to do in sports. He came over to a new league. Think of some of the excuses we normally give guys. If you don't really know about Ichiro, I know he came back. He played 2 games in 2019 that when they went over to Japan just to throw on the uni again. 15 games a year before that, basically a player coach. If you don't fully know about Ichiro, find out, because he was that dude. He was that dude. So it's a bro and a lady bro, I guess. Ichiro girl and Ichi.
Wow. Love it. I think I'm going to give my bro of the night to Herman Marquez.
Okay.
Tough year. I'm looking at the game logs, and it's not super butter knifeable, and I don't really get what fully happened. It's half a bro on the Rockies, I guess. Reason he's getting a bro, 7 shut, 1 hit at the Mets. Kind of in a style of game Jimmy would like, only 5 Ks. So happy for him there, and I was like, I haven't really heard his name like at all this year. I think I gave him a bro of the night for basically the same reasons earlier this year. It's like, oh, weird, because he was like good in Colorado, and that was weird. And he at one point had like some of the highest trade value among guys who like might be getting traded. And of course the Rockies never did it. Haven't really been competitive since not trading him. It's just, but I like him.
Yeah.
But good game this weekend, man.
Yeah, he's 27 years old.
He's still young.
Which is surprising. I mean, he came
Feels
up
like he's been around a little bit, but I guess not.
5th in Rookie of the Year at age 22, Silver Slugger, All-Star game. And yeah, he's got an interesting kind of team-friendly contract. He's got $15.3 next year, and then a team option for 2024. So he could still hit free agency at like age 30, which you hope he times it right.
If that last year's good,
and man,
body of work.
I don't know what to tell you. If Herman Marquez, if he ended up on the Dodgers tomorrow, I mean, I think you're talking about Cy Young votes. So just talk about weird career paths in baseball teams, and Rockies Old Timers Day would be a funky one with some great names and players, by the way. Rockies Old Timers Day, I would try to go. I'd try to get involved.
They'd have like if you had every guy go stand at their position, they got guys everywhere.
You know who had the most games at catcher for the original Rockies team, 1993?
Is it Girardi?
Joe Girardi.
Yes.
With 86 games. I mean, if
thought it was going to be him or Osmus.
I always get scared because you never know if guys have passed or whatever. But, if you bring up their baseball lineup around the horn, it's Girardi, Andres Galarraga, Eric Young Sr., Vinny Castilla, Charlie Hayes, Gerald Clark, and Alex Cole. Not as much in my book.
That infield.
Dante Bichette.
Yes.
Even Daryl Boston, I think he's like a baseball guy. He's been a coach around the leagues for a while. I mean, roll that out there and let's have some fun. Eric Wedge caught 9 games on that team. Former young Indians
Brad
manager.
Hopp at an event.
Yeah, I mean, do Old Timers Day. Kurt Laskanik.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a real one. Hey, thank you guys. Again, I think we're doing football Wednesday because it's kind of happening.
It's time.
It's time. Enjoy your week. We will see you Wednesday. Watch the floorball tonight. It's incredible. It is incredible.
Literally championship game.
Literally a championship game.
And watch the old ones too. You can catch up.
Yeah, catch up.
They're not that long.
If you want some of the storylines, good way to get through Monday.
It's a good binge.
Weekly Dumb
Coming tomorrow.
We recorded it. Shea Station, if you want to hear about the Mets and how they continue to be awesome. Pinstripe Strong, Joe's McFly. He's at Bad Bunny with A-Rod. I don't know what to tell you there. Talking Yanks, in our fields a little bit tough. Talking Giants, they are getting excited for the football. John Boy Jake TV, I think we got some GeoGuessr. Those GeoGuessr God guys and the baggage. Thank you guys. Enjoy your week. Let's have a great one. Why not? Why not us?
I don't see why not.
No losses on the schedule.
I didn't see one. I just looked.